Let me encourage you today with a simple but powerful truth. You don't have to announce what God is doing in your life for it to come to pass. In 2026, one of the greatest decisions you can make is to focus on yourself and stay silent. Not silent because you're afraid, not silent because you lack confidence, but silent because you trust that God is working behind the scenes. When you make the decision to focus on yourself and stay silent, you are stepping into a higher level of maturity and faith. One of the greatest strengths you can develop in 2026 is the ability to grow without constantly explaining yourself. Many people feel the need to justify every move they make. They want approval, understanding, and agreement before they take the next step. But the truth is, if God put the dream in your heart, He didn't ask you to run it by everyone else. He already approved it. There will always be voices around you. Some are well-meaning, some are critical, and some are simply confused because your growth challenges their comfort. If you spend your life trying to answer every voice, you will never fully hear God's voice. Staying silent doesn't mean you don't know where you're going. It means you are so secure in where God is taking you that you don't feel the need to convince anyone else. In this season, God is calling you to stop announcing what you're about to do and start becoming who you're meant to be. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every plan needs to be posted. Not every vision needs to be discussed. Some things are too precious to expose too early. When you talk too much about what you're going to do, you can lose the discipline to actually do it. Silence keeps you focused. Silence protects your energy. Silence keeps you moving forward instead of sideways. You see, growth requires concentration. When you're constantly explaining yourself, you're distracted. You're pulled into defending your choices, proving your intentions, correcting misunderstandings. That's energy that should be invested in becoming better, stronger, wiser. In 2026, make a decision that your energy will go into progress, not into explanations. God often does His greatest work in hidden seasons. Before David was king, he was a shepherd, unseen and overlooked. Before Joseph stood in the palace, he was in a prison, misunderstood and forgotten. Nobody applauded them in those seasons, but God was preparing them. If they had spent that time complaining, explaining, or trying to prove themselves, they would have missed the preparation. Silence positioned them for promotion. When you stay silent, you're saying, God, I trust you to reveal me at the right time. You don't need to force doors open. You don't need to chase recognition. God knows exactly where you are. He knows what you've been through. He knows what you're working on in private. And when He decides to lift you, no person can stop it. Some people will misunderstand your silence. They may think you've changed, become distant, or lost interest. But growth always looks strange to people who are not growing. You don't owe everyone access to your process. You don't owe everyone an explanation. The only approval you truly need is God's. There will be moments in 2026 when you want to speak up, defend yourself, or set the record straight. But sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. God fights battles you refuse to fight. When you stay quiet, He steps in as your defender. He speaks on your behalf in ways you never could. Silence also builds inner confidence. When you don't rely on people's opinions, you become rooted. You stop rising and falling based on what others say. Compliments don't inflate you, and criticism doesn't destroy you. Your identity becomes anchored in who God says you are, not in what people think about you. Focusing on yourself means you're taking responsibility for your growth. You're no longer waiting for someone else to change, apologize, or understand. You're saying, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to improve my mindset. I'm going to strengthen my character. I'm going to discipline my habits. That kind of focus attracts God's favor. When you grow quietly, the transformation is deeper and more lasting. Loud growth is often for attention. Silent growth is for alignment. God is more concerned with who you're becoming than what people are saying about you. And when you focus on becoming, recognition will follow naturally. In this year, let your discipline be your announcement. Let your consistency be your explanation. Let your peace be your response. You don't need to tell people how much you've changed. They'll see it. You don't need to tell people how far you've come. They'll feel it. Remember, Jesus himself spent 30 years in preparation and only 3 years in public ministry. He wasn't in a hurry to be seen. He was focused on being ready. If the Son of God valued preparation over publicity, how much more should we? So in 2026, embrace the power of quiet confidence. Wake up every day knowing that God is working even when no one notices. Stay faithful in private. Stay disciplined in silence. Stay focused on becoming the best version of yourself. One day, without you saying a word, people will see the difference and know that God has been at work all along. Silence is often misunderstood in today's world. People think if you're quiet, you're weak, unsure, or afraid. But the truth is, silence is one of the strongest positions you can take when your confidence is rooted in God. In 2026, choosing to stay silent is not about shrinking back. It's about standing firm in who you are and who God is shaping you to become. When you stop feeling the need to respond to everything, you regain control over your peace. Not every comment deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your response. Some people will talk about you simply because they don't understand you. Others will criticize you because your growth reminds them of what they've neglected in their own lives. If you answer every voice, you will slowly lose your own. Silence protects your inner world. God has a way of using quiet seasons to build strong foundations. Noise creates pressure, but silence creates clarity. When you are silent, you can hear God more clearly. You can recognize what matters and what doesn't. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding wisely. That's how maturity is formed. That's how faith grows deeper. In 2026, God is calling you to a place where you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to prove that you're talented, capable, or chosen. If God chose you, no human opinion can disqualify you. When you understand that, you stop trying to impress people and start focusing on pleasing God. That shift changes everything. Silence also teaches you patience. It teaches you to wait without complaining, to trust without seeing immediate results. Many people quit right before their breakthrough because they become frustrated by what they don't see. But God often works in ways you can't track. While you're being quiet, He's arranging G connections, opening doors, and aligning opportunities. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. There will be moments when staying silent feels uncomfortable. You may feel misunderstood. You may feel like people are getting the wrong idea about you. But remember this, God knows the truth. And when God knows the truth, you don't have to rush to explain yourself. He has a way of revealing truth at the right time, in the right way, to the right people. Some battles are not meant to be fought with words. They are meant to be won with character. When you stay silent, you allow your actions to speak. Your consistency becomes your voice. Your integrity becomes your defense. Over time, people may forget what was said about you, but they will remember how you lived. Silence keeps you from making emotional decisions. When emotions run high, words can do damage that takes years to undo. Staying quiet gives you space to think, to pray, to choose wisdom over impulse. Many regrets are born in moments when silence would have been the better choice. In 2026, let wisdom guide your responses. God honors restraint. He honors humility. When you don't rush to defend yourself, you're saying, God, I trust you with my reputation. And God takes that personally. He knows how to lift you without you lifting yourself. He knows how to vindicate you without you arguing your case. Look at how Jesus responded when he was falsely accused. He didn't argue with everyone. He didn't explain himself to every critic. There were moments when he remained silent, not because he lacked answers, but because he trusted the Father. That silence carried authority. That silence carried strength. When you stay silent, you also break free from comparison. You stop measuring your life against others. You stop competing for attention. You understand that your journey is unique, your timing is different, and your calling is specific. Comparison fades when confidence rises, and confidence grows best in quiet places. In this year, silence will sharpen your focus. You'll become more aware of how you spend your time, who you give access to, and what you allow into your mind. You'll realize that not everyone deserves your energy. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary for growth. Silence also strengthens your faith. When you're not constantly talking about your problems, you're more likely to talk to God about them. Prayer becomes deeper. Trust becomes stronger. You stop seeking reassurance from people and start relying on God's promises. That's when your faith moves from surface level belief to deep-rooted trust. People may not notice your silence at first. They may even misinterpret it, but over time, they'll notice your stability. They'll notice your calm. They'll notice your growth. And when they do, they won't be asking why you were quiet. They'll be asking how you became so strong. In 2026, let silence become your strategy. Let it be the spa, CE, where God refines you, strengthens you, and prepares you for what's next. You don't need to announce your next move. You don't need to explain your process. Stay faithful, stay focused, stay silent. God is working in ways you cannot yet see. When you choose to focus on yourself and stay silent, you are making a powerful declaration of trust. Trust in God's timing, trust in His promises, and trust in the process He is taking you through. In 2026, one of the most life-changing decisions you can make is to stop reacting to everything around you and start responding from a place of faith. Silence is not about ignoring life, it's about mastering it. Many people feel drained not because life is hard, but because they are constantly explaining, reacting, and defending. They give their energy to conversations that don't add value, to arguments that don't change outcomes, and to people who were never meant to understand them. God never designed you to live exhausted by noise. He designed you to live empowered by peace. When you stay silent, you begin to see clearly. You recognize patterns. You understand which doors are from God and which distractions are pulling you away from your purpose. Noise creates confusion, but silence creates discernment. In quiet moments, God sharpens your vision. He shows you what to release and what to pursue. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean isolating from the world. It means prioritizing your growth. It means you are intentional about your your habits, and your spiritual life. You stop waiting for motivation and start walking in discipline. You understand that greatness is built in private long before it is celebrated in public. There are seasons when God asks you to pull back, not because you're losing ground, but because He's preparing you for more. Just like an athlete trains in private before the competition, God often develops you in silence before He displays you. The private work is never wasted. Every unseen effort is shaping you into someone who can handle the blessing that's coming. In 2026, some of your biggest breakthroughs will come not from speaking more, but from speaking less. Words have power, but restraint has wisdom. Silence keeps you from saying things you'll later regret. It keeps you from revealing plans prematurely. It keeps you grounded when emotions try to take over. You may feel overlooked at times. You may wonder why others seem to be moving faster or getting more recognition. But remember this, God is not in a hurry. He is thorough. What He builds slowly, He builds to last. When you stop comparing your journey to someone else's, you free yourself to fully embrace your own calling. Silence strengthens your character. It teaches you to endure without complaining, to trust without proof, and to wait without anxiety. These are not small qualities. They are the marks of spiritual maturity. God is far more interested in who you are becoming than how quickly you arrive. When you do, then feel the need to announce your struggles, you develop resilience. You learn how to take your burdens to God instead of broadcasting them to everyone else. Prayer becomes your first response, not your last resort. And in that quiet connection, God gives you strength that no human encouragement could ever match. There will be times when people misunderstand your silence. They may assume you're indifferent, distant, or weak, but you don't need to correct every assumption. Truth has a way of surfacing on its own. Over time, consistency reveals what words never could. Staying silent also helps you let go of control. You stop trying to manage how others perceive you. You stop trying to fix every narrative. You trust that God knows your heart, and that's enough. When you release control, you make room for God to move. Focus brings clarity, and clarity brings confidence. When you know what God has called you to do, distractions lose their power. Opinions lose their weight. You become steady, not easily shaken by praise or criticism. That kind of stability is rare, and it's built in quiet places. In this season, God is teaching you how to stand firm without being loud, how to be confident without being arrogant, how to be peaceful without being passive. Silence doesn't mean you lack authority. It means your authority is rooted deeper than words. Every day you choose focus over distraction, you are investing in your future. Every day you choose silence over reaction, you are protecting your peace. These small daily decisions are shaping a stronger, wiser version of you. God sees what others don't see. He sees the discipline when no one is watching. He sees the restraint when you could have reacted. He sees the faith when you chose to trust instead of complain. And He rewards what is done in secret. As you move through 2026, let your life be guided by intention, not impulse. Let your growth be steady, not rushed. Let your confidence come from God, not from applause. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you position yourself for a level of favor that doesn't need explanation. God will speak for you through the life you live.